We're going to do a quick crop update. I know they're not hugely popular, but we had a honestly, if I could have every spring from here on out go like this planting season did, I'd be perfectly fine with it. It was great. I had a couple long days, but never really felt rushed like we weren't going to get anything done. And I'm overall fairly happy with how things look. This is the first field of corn that we planted. Here comes Relina. Hi. You came to join. Okay. So row shutoffs we got figured out. I was having some serious issues where my row shutoffs weren't turning on and off. Got that straightened out this year. Turns out one of my settings for my distances for the tractor was not accurate. Wasn't set right. So at least now the corn is, or the planter is turning on and off where it shouldn't be. We have a little bit of like an escapee right here, but overall much better than last year. I also wanted to show you guys where, come on buddy, don't step on the corn, dude. Those two plants are our profit margin. Last fall I had this area right through here. If it looks different to anybody, I had that ripped. I hired it done, and I wanted to see if there was any yield difference ripping soybean stubble in the fall going into corn. Now I did do the headlands. The headlands were actually my biggest concern, but I had to go through. Didn't have to, but I surely did want to. I hit it lightly with the VT and I did harrow it. The reason being is because, as far as I'm aware, this ground had never been ripped before, and everywhere where the ripper had been pulled up out of the ground, basically on all the headlands, it was bringing up some pretty good chunks of concrete, and they didn't exactly dissolve, fall apart, break down over the winter, and I didn't really want it to cause issues when it came to planting it. So that's why this is all fairly clear. No, we haven't had our first pass sprayed on it yet because wind has definitely been an issue. But as far as this patch of greenness, that's actually my trial pass where the ripper had gone. I have it in the monitor for when I planted it, so it'll actually keep it separate from the rest of the field. It will actually tell me when I am harvesting the pass that had been ripped. But I just noticed as I was coming across the field here how much of a difference that made with the weed pressure, where it really wasn't an issue. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's an issue, but it's not as prevalent as it was where the ground was worked last fall, and that's all it's had done to it was just a ripper pass. The other thing I wanted to say about this is because I'm trying to get comfortable, happy, content, however you want to say it. I'm trying to reduce the amount of tillage I'm doing. Saves fuel, saves erosion. I mean, the less you got to move the dirt around, the better. So what I'm currently on and trying to move towards is 2 years of no-till and 1 year of conventional tillage. So to me, conventional tillage is we go through after the crop has been harvested, we chisel it, primary tillage in the fall, and then in the spring we'll go through and work it down and plant it. And our current seed bed prep is a pass with the VT on chiseled ground, and then hit it with that drag chain harrow, and it does, well, this is what you can actually end up with. Really nice seed bed. I will also say that our singulation is probably the best it's ever been. That come down to, I'm fairly certain, I put on new disc openers on the planter. The other ones were worn and out of Well, actually, they need to be shimmed, but replacing them, I think, was definitely the right move. See, this field was straight planted at, I think it was 38,000, 38 and a half. And for being the first field of corn planted, it's moving along just nicely. The last field that we planted is just starting to come up through the ground. And I wanted to show you. So here is soybean stubble from last year. Now the year before that, I planted the soybeans in between the corn stand from the year before. So ideally I'm going for go through and tillage. I'll plant it corn. Then I'll go through after that primary pass of corn. I'll plant it to soybeans and then follow those soybeans with no-till corn. And then I'll work the ground between the two corn seasons. So when I do corn on corn, the ground is worked before we put it back to corn and incorporate some of that residue. And I had a spot where you could see it really well, but you can see the soybean pass from last year. And then you could see, well, right here, you could see where my corn stalks were. So I've actually planted in between the corn and the soybean stubble from the previous 2 years, which I think is pretty neat. What technology allows you to do. Hey, shut it. See, you can't take your eyes off of them. Here. Hey, pick up the bucket. We're gonna get going. The kids are feral, I swear. Oh, it's fine. It gets them out of the house and they can spend time with Dad that way. But about the next biggest thing that we got to wait for on any of this is just getting it sprayed. But overall, I'd say we're looking at a really good start. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll talk to you later. Hopefully you start making hay here soon. I've never welded on my four-wheeler before, or a four-wheeler for that matter, and I figure I might as well include you guys in on this little project before I finish it up, because it really isn't going to take that long. So earlier in the year, it was part of some of the rando stuff I was able to pick up, you know, between that manure grapple and yard wagon, and something actually on the cheaper side of everything I bought was a barbed wire unroller for making fence. It saves you having to use the homemade pole one we have where you're trudging through grass and everything else. It came with an adapter, this guy right here, and you're supposed to just bolt it on to your hitch, which I did. But me being the farmer that I am, you know, use it in every which way that you're not supposed to use it. I actually went and bought a hitch for it so I can actually use it for pulling those empty wagons, round bale wagons around, because that tends to be an issue around here a lot, where it seems like they're always in the way or they're not where you need them to be to reload them or whatever. So having a hitch on at least this four-wheeler comes in handy. So it seems how this came with that wire unroller. I threw it on, and the problem I ran with is there's a single bolt that holds it on. So when I went and moved that first wagon that I did, it immediately, you know, cranked it all the way to the side. So the bolt is not enough to hold it in place. It'll hold it on, but not, you know, keep it solid. So as you can see what I'm doing, went and shined it up with the sanding wheel, and I guess we're gonna call it a simple farmer fix, because that's what it is. Grabbed two these longer bolts out of the parts bin. And this one actually fits up better than this side will, because this goes on the back side. And the head of the bolt actually mounts right up against the existing hitch from the four-wheeler. The other side is not as easy. It is still angled, but I can go through and do that. And it sits in behind here. Now the thing I don't like doing that is it makes it kind of like it's a permanent fixture of the four-wheeler. Well, it is until I torch it off. But using this hitch for the four-wheeler, as you can see, this is all a product of hooking up the wagons and that roller bar hay rake, that New Holland one. I've actually pulled that home from the valley with this four-wheeler before. I mean, it actually pulls it quite well. So having a dedicated hitch is going to be in my favor. What I did do, and that's what this piece is, it's actually a shim that is helping get me a little bit more height on this side of the bolt. So yes, it's not sitting in there flush, but it ain't gonna really matter here once I get this welded in to pick it up, because the problem is, which nothing against Hannah, but this was actually sitting aimed down a lot worse than what it is right now. Go away, Julie. Go away. You stink. Go. Come on, go. They said they found something that it stinks. What was I saying? When Hannah was sitting on the four-wheeler, it jogged my memory. It actually, when you sit on it, it does actually pull this back up. So you can see that. Really shouldn't be too much of an issue then. I'm going to leave that shim in there because it is noticeable. And then I honestly probably could have shimmed it down underneath this extension. But I really don't want to do that because I have to be able to take it in and out and have it not be too much of a pain in the butt. I could actually tack weld if I wanted to. See, I'd have to clean that up. Looks like the weld from manufacturing. Clean that up and either weld something on here, and something I've done before is actually take and weld a bead right on this end and then just grind it off enough to where it'll clear and take out some of that slop. But I can't do anything with this with it being permanent. I still need to be able to put the pin in and out of it because that wire unroller is meant to slide into this. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld this up and you guys can see the final results. What is he doing? Oh, that's a cow's bellering. Okay. So this is the final product. Thanks to Hannah. We wouldn't have found it out without her. I joke, but no, the big project here, which wasn't even a project, was to stiffen up the sides of this adapter piece. So simple welds, didn't get too overly carried away, did burn them in good, but if I wanted to take that back off, it's probably going to require the torch. I'll cross that bridge if we ever get to it, because I don't see me getting rid of this thing in the foreseeable future. I don't know about you guys, but I think the newer four-wheelers look ugly, but that's just me. So I've gotten quite fond of this one. So on to the next project.